Oh yeah, this outfit is fucking ridiculous because of the press size. Holy crap. That's the last one apparently? Of course. Okay, so do we have anything... Wait, what was that? That might... Hold up. This might work, actually. Though it's text, so... I mean, there's some text there too, so... Yeah, this is gonna look very good on the past broadcast, I think. Yeah, especially if you take this out of context, but... Let's see. So let's go to as bad as it goes, so say high performance, which is DLS's performance upscale. I see the logo is like very slightly shifting if you look when Eve is like posing here in her T-pose. Like if you pay close attention, you can see that the trees, especially on that, they are like very slightly like shifting. It's very faint, but that's probably the upscaling or the game doing it. It's one or the other. And now if we increase this by a noticeable amount, say... What did I write on the back? Let's actually read what I put on the internal resolutions here. I don't want to crash the VRAM immediately when I change something here. If possible. Right, so I put balanced 707, which should be... What did I write in the notes about this one? So 707 is... Internal resolution when using DLSS 4.5 will still look roughly same in comparison with DLSS 4.0 on DLAA. But it will not look the same as the DLSS 4.5 on DLAA anymore. Okay. So if you put that on, it should be noticeable. In other words. So put balanced. So now we have that internal resolution, and now when we look at the logo. Yeah, I can see a difference. So it's also true in this game. So it's not just a God of War 2018 thing. Yeah, you can see a difference. So this indeed does in fact, I mean, it probably impacts all games then. So my testing for this, or my, you know, test results are valid, I guess. Because, yeah, I can see a difference, you know. So the one where we don't see a difference necessarily from like the normal viewing distance is the one that I would want to use then, if possible. Which would be what? Balanced upscale on 4.5 still looks like about as good. So that would be one notch lower from this. From my settings currently. Let's go here. Graphics, so that would be performance. That's what I have set for DLSS balanced. Let's compare. Yeah, I can't see a difference between those. Looking at even from a bit closer distance, and especially if you look from like here, can't see a difference. Though I do say that from this distance away, let's see. I have difficult time seeing a difference in here either. But when I was closer, like somewhere like in here or so, I was able to see a difference. But from this distance away, I would say it's difficult once again. which is also a point that I took into account when I was making my own presets and analyses. Yeah, I can see a difference between the two. But if I flash them like... Or if I play just with that, would I think that it's blurry in comparison? Difficult. I know there's a difference just by comparing like back to back here, but... Yeah, and if I put DLAA now... Oh, did it just crash? Yeah, that's not really... I can't see a difference. It moved a noticeable amount of fucking VRAM to system RAM there, by the way. Explains why we are on 30 FPS. Yeah, that's not running. That's not gonna run. The GPU has easily enough power to run this game even on native 4K, surprisingly. But the VRAM is just not enough. The VRAM is just... no. Nope. If we drop this back to... Actually, you know what? Let's look at that for a moment longer. I'm gonna drop it again. I'm just gonna see if I notice a difference. Yeah, I can see a difference. It's not a waltz difference, but I can see it. Let's do the same test again, but this time, let's go to the balanced upscale option that I have, which is indeed just simply normal balance upscale, 58% on 4K. Like, I can read, like, still quite easily, or I can guess the letters because of the clarity being good enough and because of, you know, schematics of English language and lyricism, that I can tell that that says comfortable sportswear, you know. Actually, does it read that? Yeah, it does, even from, you know, this distance away, bit over arm's length, looking at that small font. So I can still read it like comfortable, like sportswear, you know. Can I still do that very easily if I go to like, or well, somewhat easily? If I go to say performance, I think I have balanced. Stop moving Eve. Yes, I can. It's about the same. Let's actually do the exact same test, but with the performance upscale. Yeah, still very much readable, very much cohesive. Now if we go to high performance, I can still guess what it says, but I do notice when I'm trying to read it that it feels more difficult, because it's a bit like blurrier. But it surprisingly is not a waltz difference. It definitely was worse with some three-dimensional objects that have intricate details, say something like in God of War 2018. Like the carvings on Kratos' axe, for example, as well as his armors look significantly worse in comparison with DLSS 4.0 on native DLAA. Like, it was actually very noticeable. But here, not really that much. Yeah, not really. So if the not the performance, if the VRAM allows running this game on the balanced upscale like this, would probably be the most optimal. If the VRAM doesn't fucking choke away, that is, in the worst areas. Yeah, this would probably be the most optimal for visual quality as well as performance, without leaving too much in the table or on the table.